Oh, woe is me. I'm gonna have a look at yet another scaling arcade conversion on the ST, just because they always run so well, right? And this time it's Galaxy Force, published by Activision in 1989 and developed by Dementia. And they also did Golden Axe on the ST, so that should bring some hope, I suppose. I think that one was pretty decent. This is of course based on the super scaling arcade game from Sega, and this is also known as Galaxy Force 2 because Sega did exactly the same thing they did with Afterburner 1. Pretty much immediately after releasing Afterburner 1, the arcade version, they updated it and fixed a couple of issues and I think added 2 levels or something and released Afterburner 2. The same thing happened with Galaxy Force 1. They pretty much immediately released Galaxy Force 2, which contained some fixes and I think 2 additional levels. And Sega released the Galaxy Force game for arcades in 1988, and I believe they released Galaxy Force 2 in the same year. And this super scaling game doesn't actually involve Yu Suzuki, not as far as I can see anyway, but the Sega developers for this game later went on to become the Sega AM1 team, and this arcade game runs on the Sega Y hardware, which was also used for Power Drift, and I'm not entirely sure if any other games ran on this hardware actually. And this board can handle an absolute massive amount of on-screen sprites. And apparently, according to the wiki, this game was inspired by Star Wars, which isn't entirely surprising, I suppose. And Game Machine listed this as the 13th most popular coin-op operated arcade game in Japan in January 1989. Which seems a bit low, I suppose, so maybe it wasn't that popular in Japan, but it was certainly an arcade hit in North America, even though it wasn't that widely available at most American arcades. But hey, enough said about all this. Let's hit the ST version and see how it runs. Digitized loading screen. Looks pretty decent, although I would have preferred a handmade one, I think. Sega. Galaxy Force 2, yeah, and as you can see, the game is called Galaxy Force 2, and we get some funky music! Which sounds a bit busy, to be honest. And we even get to see the keys! I like it, and yeah, we can even self-destruct. Amazing, just what I need in my life, some self-destruction. And we get the level select, that's nice. Yeah, seems to be quite similar to the arcade. Let's just go with, yeah, level 1, I think. Oh, it looks pretty nice. Oh, wow. Okay. This runs pretty well so far. I don't know if we have... Oops. The big ships are here. I wonder how we fire off missiles. I have no clue. Using a joystick, of course, which makes it pretty hard to use the acceleration and the acceleration buttons. But this runs surprisingly well. Penetrate fortress? Sure, I can do that. It doesn't seem to fire any missiles if I hold the fire button, so that's a bit of a bummer. Maybe space? Yeah, maybe it is space. I'm not sure. Maybe it is holding fire button when you have lock on, maybe. Yeah, it is, sorry. And this is, okay, fairly similar to the arcade game, I must say, and it runs surprisingly well. Although the controls are really rather sluggish. It takes forever to turn, which is a problem that the arcade version also had, I felt. And I forgot to mention that the arcade version also had a sit down. I think there were 3 different versions of the cab, like standard version, deluxe version, and the super deluxe version, which meant that you had a sit down cab that would move you about. Okay, yeah. Damage feedback is a little bit confusing at times. Oops. Power up. Okay. That's good. And it's kind of unclear when you really are near enough certain enemies to actually collide with them? Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, this. But it runs surprisingly well. And looks pretty decent too, and damn it. My energy is constantly running down. I'm not sure if I need to replenish it somehow. I presume I do. Question is, of course, how? By blasting something? And I think we have an infinite supply of missiles, which is...
Right turn.
Oh, we've got sample sound effects, or sampled voices, cool. Didn't hear that before. Gives me a warning. And this is so annoying. You really have to start turning about 2 weeks beforehand. But I think I know where to go now, so let's... Oh, really? And I still hit... Oh, God, yeah, this is... a bit annoying, but honestly, the arcade version suffered a bit from the same problem. It's also more difficult than the arcade version, I would say. Let's check out level 2. Alright. Yeah, the visuals are pretty nice. Pretty impressed by this. Is it fun to play? Well, I mean... it's alright, I suppose. I would probably have been impressed by it back in the day. These days, maybe not so much. I mean, the arcade version was, focused on having impressive visuals. Without the impressive visuals and the shaking cabinet, I don't think there's too much gameplay in the arcade version either, so I suppose, manages to capture the feel of the arcade fairly well, even though you might have to unscrew the bolts on your desk chair to simulate the shaky cabinet. We didn't get the amazing lava fields, of course, in the ST version. Okay, time to turn, I think. Let's try and do that without hitting with hitting anything. And now we turn the other way. And even though I turn immediately, I still don't have enough time. It is really clunky, and it's actually more clunky than the arcade version. But I did get some extra energy, so that is nice. But it certainly feels a little bit, the gameplay feels a bit disconnected. It's hard to really know what is going on screen. And I wonder if the fact that you can change speed really makes a huge difference. Maybe it helps you dodge stuff. I'm not sure. Okay, let's check out level 3. Okay. Oh, we get clouds. Lovely. And I think I would have to say that this runs better than Afterburner on the ST. And is definitely more fun to play. And so far, I would say it's one of the better scalers I've played. I think. Is it the best one? Not entirely sure. And by that, of course, I mean the best. One of the better scalers on the ST. Maybe there are better ones, or maybe I've even played better ones. I just can't remember. Because I've been playing so many ST games over the years that it's all getting a bit fuzzy. And it doesn't look like I'm actually supposed to collide with that ship there, but I do anyway, so... a little bit clunky. Oh, really? I collided with that one too? Oh, and let's penetrate another fortress. All in a day's work. It's hard work, but someone has to do it, and I have absolutely no idea what got me there. The game very kindly just selects the next stage for me, so that's very nice of the game. So let's try out level 4. Oh, that's looking very nice. It's really hard to know if you're actually behind an enemy that comes in from the side, like this, like from above. Really hard to know. and you often collide with them when you don't... Oh, really? When you don't expect to. And this stage runs decently well. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things happening. Okay, what the hell is that? Is that some sort of Space Harrier reject enemy? And I keep hitting the damn thing. That's pretty cool, though. That looked really cool. We got bouncy mech warriors. Oh, yeah, just take it to the face. And another fortress. Oh, there's so many fortresses here. And again, I don't really know what gets me, but hey! Let's check out the final stage. And lots of various thingies that I get ejected from on each stage. That's nice variation. And sometimes it seems like my missiles aren't really working. I don't know what's going. Oh, Jesus. What's going on there? Sometimes I fire them, and others I don't. Oh, really? You absolute flying bastard. Really? Oh, man. I don't know if it's the fact that I just played the arcade version, and the sprites get much larger there, so I think I'm in the clear here, but I keep hitting stuff that I don't want to hit. Oh god, it's pretty frustrating, this, I must admit. The colliding with everything in sight principle. And we have another fortress, that's a surprise. It's running a little bit worse here, I must say, but oh, we get kind of like up and down going here, that's nice. Please don't collide with the floor, you... Not a whole lot going on here. Am I just supposed to navigate? I have... What? Was that a wall? Or just a random explosion? Maybe I ran out of juice or something. So let's call it quits and have a look at some reviews. ST Format's Mark Hyam gave the game an overall of 68%, and he wrote, "Unfortunately, the game doesn't respond to movement of the joystick as fast as it should, particularly in the Fortress, where you need to make crucial decisions about movements left or right." And yeah, that was definitely a problem. Also in the arcade a bit, actually. There's also no escaping the jerky shifts of some of the larger sprites, which makes the game confusing and clumsy. Galaxy Force is great fun for half an hour. If you're into mindless blasting, you'll have a whale of a time. But it lacks the challenging gameplay, which is rapidly becoming crucial to 16-bit games. And yeah, that is pretty much spot on. ST Action was a bit less impressed and gave the game an overall rating of 50%, and one of the reviewers wrote, "The game was fairly good to begin with, but after a short time it became boring and I find myself reaching for the off switch. The game was far too repetitive for my liking, but if a different level had been added it might have caught my attention. All in all, I think that without the hydraulic chair, as in the arcade version, the game is nowhere near as good as it could have been, and because of that I can't really recommend it." And yeah, that feels pretty spot on. It's not a terrible game and it can be fun for a bit, but it seems to be pretty repetitive. The levels are all the same, and without the super fancy scaling graphics of the arcade version and the shaky cabinet, yeah, there's not a whole lot left to have fun with here, I think, even though it has its moments. And with that, I'm just going to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, hope to catch you next time. Cheers!